Introducing the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and many more. The Open Palm Podcast, where the host engages his listeners with inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas. Topics include: make more mistakes, how much is your value, don't get right, get going, learning to let go, excellence is a habit, and more. Binge listen today. Subscribe today. It's getting excellent ratings. That's the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. You can also find it on YouTube. Make sure you share it with your social networks and connect on Twitter and Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's the Open Palm Podcast with Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms. Go listen, download, and subscribe now.
You have a greater version of you waiting on the other side of your fear. You have superpowers within you now, but they may have to be earned through sacrifice. Now, what am I speaking of? Well, being here in Columbia, South Carolina has given me not only the opportunity to renew and revitalize my relationship with my father, but also check out a lot of the old things that were still around when I was here last. My room in my dad's house was exactly how I left it, which is crazy. Down to the clothes in the drawer, the jeans that fill up all the drawers, the shirts, the comic books are still there. The notebooks I used to write in, the diaries, the journals, the video games were all there. And also the animes, because I just used to love watching anime. And one of my favorite animes that I actually stumbled upon was an anime called Darker Than Black. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But just the other day, I was watching this again, and it really impressed upon me the theme of sacrifice and how we all have these superpowers, but they may be unlocked through sacrifice. Now, what is it that you want or desire? Well, many say that in order to get to what you desire, oftentimes you're either doing too much of something or you're not doing enough of something else. So sometimes it takes sacrifice, and sacrifice can come in many forms. But if you are not sacrificing for your dream, then your dream will become your sacrifice. So I don't tell this to you to disappoint you or at your dismay. I tell this to you to encourage you to find out what that is and get to working on yourself to discover what you could detach from to gain that power. Spending time with monks and nuns from Myanmar in California taught me of detachment power. That's what they called it, detachment power. And I just love this concept of gaining power from detachment. In this anime, Darker Than Black, there are characters called contractors. And these are the heroes and villains who are going out, and there was a cosmic incident, something that happened, be it like a meteor that fell or something that just shocked the whole world, right? An incident that caused everything to change. And when this incident happened, when this meteor fell on the earth, or when whatever happened caused this cataclysmic disaster, everyone was changed. Many people developed abilities that they had never had before. Abilities to do amazing things. Telekinesis, telepathy, teleportation, levitation, super speed. Abilities where they could phase in and out of reality. Abilities that would allow them to do the extraordinary. Because we know that The only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little extra, right? So this event gave them that little extra. But at the gaining of their abilities, there was a price to be paid. There was a cost to be able to have these wonderful abilities. And the cost was different for each one of them. In the beginning, on the episode 1, you see that there is an individual on the run, one of the contractors with this ability. And his unique ability was gravity nullification, where he could not only nullify his own gravity, causing him to levitate and hover and fly over long distances, but he could also nullify the gravity of others around him. He could look at someone and his eyes would glow with a star in his eyes. And all of a sudden that individual, their gravity would be nullified and they would start floating like a balloon forever and ever until it was over. Now, in order to unlock this ability, he had to break his fingers. Let me say that again. His sacrifice for this superpower was that he had to break, he had to snap, he had to voluntarily shatter the bones in his fingers. So you can see him in a dark alleyway, in pain and agony, after using this gravity nullification ability on an individual, trying to escape on the run from the cops. He screamed out as he had to purposefully break his finger. He started with his pinky finger and then he broke another finger, all to be able to use this ability. Now, some people had different things that they had to do. There was an individual who had the ability to look at an object or somebody and have it explode from within. All he had to do was look at something and he could trigger it to blow up. But in order to have this ability, he had to eat flowers. So he had to go to a sunflower or just a unique flower, pluck it, and consume it right there on the spot. And as he's munching on these flowers, people are watching him like, what is up with that guy, right? There was another guy who had the power to reach in to matter and have his hand phase into another area. So he could reach into a wall and put his hand inside your chest, and he could retrieve your heart. So he had the ability to take objects from one place to another place. But in order to do this, he had to arrange rocks. He had to take pebbles and make an 8x8 diagram and individually place each pebble in just the correct distance and just the correct location, all of them one by one, just in order to use his fantastical superpower. Now, the main character, he also had a superpower, which was electricity. But in order to use his superpower, he had to eat heaps and heaps of food. So he had to consume food at an enormous rate and an enormous level. And he would just go to restaurants and having to buy all this food and just gorge himself, right? Some people would say that's a pretty nice price to pay, right? But he had to do this in order to use his superpower. There was no other way. So in your life, what is the superpower that you feel like you have? I say this because, oddly enough, I have begun to find how to unlock my superpowers, which I believe are clarity, peace, rest, sleep, focus. These things that I never used to have. And not never, but were so far away from me that I felt like I would never have them again. Focus The ability to do a thing every single day, no matter what. Consistency, persistency, patience, peace, clarity. All these things came to me, and I feel like they are superpowers in comparison to my average life that I used to live. But do you know what unlocked this for me? What sacrifice I had to make to gain these superpowers? Well, at first, I had to go without eating. And now, I've combined this liquid diet, this liquid fast that has fast become a lifestyle, with intermittent fasting. And inspired by the monks from Myanmar, I have decided that in order to continue having this clarity, this amount of focus, for me, because every individual is different, we all have our own superpowers and must make our own sacrifices. But for me, I have felt that the optimum life for me is when I do not eat in the afternoon, and when I continuously have a liquid lifestyle. So that's my sacrifice. That's my superpowers. What are yours? What are yours? I say this because I know what it was like to want to wake up early in the morning and be unable. To hear the alarm clock and press it 7 times before I woke up. Before I actually climbed out of bed groggily, dreading the day in front of me. Now I wake up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or whenever I wake up early in the morning before the roosters crow, right? My cousin used to tell me, you up when the roosters are. Oh man. You're up with the chickens, right? That's what they say. But now I rise up in the morning before anyone else is up, and I'm fully awake. I'm refreshed. I feel restored, renewed, reborn. I feel as though I cannot wait for this day to unfold. I cannot wait for the sunrise. I can't wait. And I cannot even express to you how that feels. I can only come from my own experience to let you know that I thought it was impossible for me to feel this good, for me to feel this way. But I am living it today. And it only started when I stopped eating and when I decided not to eat in the afternoons. For some reason, my sleep has improved, my health has improved, my energy has spiked. I'm working out daily, having energy to do things that only came from food before. But it's a different kind of energy. It's a liquid energy. It's a fluid energy. It's an energy that flows. And as I breathe, as I meditate, as I allow this oxygen to circulate through my body, I feel greater than I've ever felt. But that's not to say that this lifestyle is for everyone. Because just like that anime, Darker Than Black, everyone has their own superpower. And everyone's superpower is unlocked from a different sacrifice. So I urge you, my friend, find out your sacrifice to unlock your superpowers today. May it forever change you and encourage you to pay that price, to pay that cost, to be the boss of your life. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of TOP, that is the Open Palm Podcast, here in Columbia, South Carolina. The Open Palm means harmony with the world, understanding our place in the world, using our skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. My friend, I pray that you did receive a kind message from this episode today. And if you did, and you gained value, and you resonated with it, that you would pay it forward to a like-minded individual who is learning and growing, like you, becoming their greatest version. I don't think that these messages are heard often enough. Many have asked how they can support the podcast. You can support it by becoming a supporter, opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw, and supporting it there is much appreciated. Or you could also become a patron at patreon.com/Jerome Shaw. Have a blessed day or night, wherever you are, my friend. Take care.